Yo, this is Steve Bloom, and you're watching Moana Nui Podcast. We'll be starting soon. Don't go anywhere.
Aloha mai kako, everyone. Welcome to the Moana Nui Podcast. We are here tonight for our monthly indie spotlights with our wonderful host, Malachi Bailey, for Mel's Corner. My name is Moana McAdams. I am the founder and host of the Moana Nui Podcast, children's book author for the Adventures of Nakoa and Nohea series, publisher and editor here at Burning Spear Comics, and champion for our independent community, and our wonderful creators who are a part of it. For those of you who are tuning in, thank you so much for being a part of our show. Please engage in the comments if you have questions for our guests as we bring them on. They love talking to the fans and helping folks to learn more about the stories they write, and the wonderful things that they do. So please engage in the comments, and we hope you guys enjoy the content. I would like to introduce Malachi Bailey. He is joining us this year. We're really excited. This is the second episode. Maybe it's the third already. I'm losing track of time, y'all. But Malachi is a creator himself, an author, writer, and creator of Her, a novel series and an ongoing comic with Wingless Comics. He hails from Long Island, New York. And just like me, he loves books. We love book lovers here. And his passion for superhero stories paved the way to online superhero role-playing, where he developed his writing craft. So with that being said, I will turn the reins over to him, bring him on, and let him take over the show. Thanks, Mal.
Thanks, Moana. I do appreciate it. Hello, people. Pretty much Moana has highlighted, who I am, but I will flesh it out for those who are still a bit confused or just a little more intrigued as to who I am. So my name is Malachi Bailey. I am an author, I am a creator, I am a storyteller, I am a storm fanatic, and I am Malachi. So with that said, I have been a writer all my life. As soon as I could, pick up a pencil, I was jotting down story ideas. So we're going back, at least 30 years. When I mentioned earlier that I'm a storm fanatic, for those who you guys really should know, Storm of the X-Men is one of my favorite characters. You can see that she's featured on my shirt. Hold on, move this way. This was illustrated by the awesomely talented Marcus Williams. So this was actually gifted to me a few years ago, and it seemed appropriate to wear it for this episode, considering that this is Women's History Month. So yeah, go women. Go Femmes. As I was saying, I have been doing this for a long time, but officially more so within the last, I want to say, 6 years. In 2016, I released my first book titled Her. I also re-released it about 3 years later, once I had a better editor and a cover to my liking. And by re-releasing the book Her, I was able to get in touch with my partner in crime. I am the Joker to his Batman, Brian J. Lambert. And you may know him, or you should know him. He's from Wingless. He's the top dog over there. And I was the first one that he recruited after reading a few pages of my novel. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed to have the opportunities afforded me by writing this book. I was able to have her debut in a comic book form in her number 0, which was the backup feature for Justice number 1 in the summer of 2020. So with her being, introduced, I am currently working on the comic book, the ongoing series. I just got some art back this afternoon. excited about it. It's all coming together. I cannot wait to present this to you guys. This is my baby. So, I'm going to do right by you and especially by her. Now, what else did I want to tell you guys about? Oh, yes. So, since we're talking about her and, her involvement with Wingless, we do have a current Kickstarter. It's Nightfall. It's titled Parts 1 through 5, but the new material that we're releasing is issues 4 and issues number 5. We're finally wrapping up, our first ever miniseries. Night has fallen, and our heroes, have to take on this ancient threat who has breached our reality. So you have the angel, you have the elemental, you have the icon, you have the rogue, you have the mercenary, you have the key. These are all things, thank you, Moana. These are all things that we've been working on for the better part of a year and some change. If you guys follow us on wingless.com, actually it's winglessent.com, and it's Wingless Comics on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, any major social media platform. You would see that we've been doing this for a while. Back in October of 2020, we released part 1. Thank you. February of 2021, we did part 2. And then I want to say September of last year, we released part 3. And now we're finally wrapping up parts 4 and 5. So we did launch the Kickstarter on February 16th, I want to say. Yeah, the 16th. We are at 75% of our goal. We are trying our bestest. Yes, I said bestest, to get up to 7K. Last I checked, we were up to $5,310. Still with 2 weeks left. I'm confident we could reach the goal, and I'm confident we can surpass the goal. So I'm hoping that you guys will click on the link that's provided in the comments. Be sure to pledge. We have a lot of deliciousness from you to choose from. We have some great tiers, and yeah, it's all about Wingless. I'm very excited. But as you know, with the show, I will also highlight other Kickstarters that caught my attention. I had to, definitely get them on the show, and I'll tell you about those guests in a moment. But before I get to the guests, I do want to highlight another Kickstarter that is dear to my heart. So many of you should be aware that Cosmos Part 6, this by Tony Cottrell from Advent Comics, he has released this, and I want to say that he has 4 days left in the campaign. Luckily, it reached its goal, but of course, there's still time to pledge so you can get your own issue. So with it being part 6, it is a 12-part maxi series, and the best way that I can describe it is if you are like an old school fan like I am, it'll give you like the cosmic Secret Wars feel from like the mid 80s. All the heroes coming together. Thank you. All the heroes are coming together, to kick some ass on a cosmic level. I can't wait to get my copy. Obviously, I pledged because I do believe in the dream. So be sure to check that out, at your leisure. Tony's a great guy. And Moana, did you know that he's local? Because I had no idea he was in the DMV. So we got to do something about that. Go out for some drinks or whatever, and properly hang out. So yes, Tony Cottrell. What else did I want to tell you all? I guess now we could pretty much bring on my special guest that I have. So since this is about Kickstarters, hey Newton. Since
guys,
it is about Kickstarters, I had to have on Newton and TJ. TJ, okay. Hopefully we get TJ at some point. But we have Newton. You guys should be familiar with his work. Crescent City Monsters has that Noir feel, zombies, and it has a very unique look. Like I remember seeing that a couple years ago, And I saw it at a con, and I spoke to Brian because Brian is well connected to everybody, and I said that's pretty hot. So Newton, welcome to my show. It's good to finally meet you. I've been aware of your presence, of your existence, for a minute now. So now it's face to face. How the hell are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, Malachi. I mean, it's been a pleasure. I mean, it's been really busy with this Kickstarter campaign, but anytime I have an opportunity to hop on a show with fellow creators like you, I definitely hop on because I know it's going to be a good conversation. I know it's going to be insightful. I know you guys are going to go dig deep in within the story that we're trying to share with everyone.
We like to get dirty. Hey, TJ. So I do have some questions, and we're not going to have you guys answer one question and he answers the other. Now I want you guys both to answer the questions. I want to know all about your journey as creators, especially creators of color, because that is slightly different, than our paler creators, right? Right. So who are you guys? I mean, who the hell are you?
That's a good question. I ask myself that every day, when I look in the mirror. No, so my name is Newton Lillavois. I'm the creator and writer of Crescent City Monsters, like you mentioned, and I started writing comic books I guess unofficially when I was 10 or 11. I used to draw my own comic books and pass it out to classmates and sell them the comic books. So I started that early, but then there was like a couple of decades where I just stopped because I had another passion, which was computer programming. So
okay,
I took that path instead. So I was more of a tech head. But then I would say it was like 5 years ago. I was at a point where I was writing stuff, right? And I had a deep interest in writing my own web series.
Okay.
But when I tried to pursue that endeavor, I realized it was a lot of time and money. So I was like, I need to figure out something else to write for. And funny enough, comics didn't come into mind until I was on Kickstarter. And this was like I said, 5 years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago. And at that time, I was always backing like Kickstarter projects for gadgets, right? And then one day, while looking for another cool Kickstarter project to back, I saw that there was a comic books projects on Kickstarter, and at that time, I didn't realize that there were comic book projects. And so I was like, okay, let me take a look at this. And so I saw all these comic book projects happening, and I was like, okay, let me take a look into this. And what I saw was a lot of these people were just like me. They had a full-time job, but this was something that they were doing on the side because they were passionate about it and they wanted to pursue that dream. So I said, you know what, I could do this too. Mm-hmm. So that's where the journey began. I started doing research as to what the right approach was. Or the approach that I wanted to take, because every comic book creator has their own path that they take. It's not the same. Mine, I started as a web comic book, and then I built my audience from there. And then once I felt like I had a big enough audience, I launched my first Kickstarter, and then the rest was history. After that, it was just like.
I love it. I love to see it. Now, how about you, TJ?
Yeah, wow, man. What I say, it's like, I think I've always been how was that? I think some people are just born to do certain things. I mean, I think I've just been born to tell stories, to be someone who kind of, creates interesting narratives and looks at, things that are different, you know what I'm saying, and try to bring some of those different types of narratives to the world. I think the very first comic I ever wrote and drew, which was, incredibly masterful work at, 7 years old, squiggly spaghetti lines, man. My very first comic, I was like, I would love to just see more people that look like me and the people that I grew up with in comic books. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up with in Grand Rapids, Michigan, my hometown, it's a very eclectic small town where, you've got people on one side of the city that are from the Philippines, one side of the city that are from, Mexico or other Latin American countries. Some folks are from Africa. So really all my friends were from all different groups, you know what I'm saying? So I think for me, always hearing different stories from different cultures was very inspiring. And the comic book store and the game store was something that I always frequented. And again, wanting to see more representation, I always kind of felt like telling my own stories was going to be the way to do it. So naturally, I spent quite a bit of time, in art class, doodling, creating characters. I got super inspired by the 90s anime wave that hit the United States, like crazy back in like 93, 94, 95. Dragon Ball Z, Berserk, all kinds of really classic anime that, was incredibly inspiring to me as a creator because, you had these really diverse characters for, for Japan and for the Asian cinema as a whole. So it was really inspiring to me, really interesting, really, really cool. And I was just like, okay, I want to do my own thing. But knowing that it really was going to take time to kind of hone those skills, I guess I never really rushed. I kind of always chipped away at it and worked at it over the years and I moved from Michigan to the New York City area and went to school for art, for illustration, for fine art. Got a bachelor's degree in fine arts and illustration focus. I worked at Marvel as an intern in the production department for about a year, learning how comic books work, how they're built, how to market. A lot of the stuff that I do now comes from my experience working for one of the big companies. And I think relationship building is one of those things that I took very, very seriously and, to heart as being something that was a key to success with, being a comic book illustrator. And shortly after leaving Marvel, and this was right around the time when they got acquired by Disney, so all kinds of weird internal structures were happening. But after leaving Marvel, I started Ray Comics, and Ray Comics' whole mission was to tell diverse stories about underrepresented characters, stories that you wouldn't normally see. I mean, during the during 2015, when Okina's first was debuted at San Diego Comic-Con, my first convention, there was no Super Sentai Tokukatsu comic books on the market at the time. There was nothing like that. Even though it's inspired by the entire genre, the Beetleborgs, the Kamen Riders of that generation, there wasn't really anything that was Black Tokukatsu. So for me, it was just important to tell that story because it was something I was always inspired by. I always thought that, a hero can be a civilian and a human being during the day, but, maybe at night he has to put on a suit of armor, whether it's, I guess which a lot of heroes can kind of do. But I wanted the term armor to be external and almost exoskeleton-like, which would make us bulletproof and fireproof and all these other things that I think as, they're just important to us, you know what I'm saying? Like these types of interesting, cool powers that we think about as kids. So, yeah, I think that's a little bit of my journey. I mean, now I still do tons of conventions where I meet a lot of you amazing people who have supported me. And we do we do about one Kickstarter a year and try to really make it epic and event and something cool for you guys to get into. And currently, Ray Comics as a business has raised over $50,000 on Kickstarter. So really because of you guys. So I want to say thank you. I want to appreciate you guys helping us get our third campaign or my third campaign, but Newton's several other campaigns to, bring this and make it successful. And if you haven't seen it, you got to check it out, man.
He's not lying.
It's crazy. It's
so I want to touch on something that you said, TJ. You had mentioned, by being an intern at Marvel, it showed you how to, network properly and, work on those relationships. Now I can, speak from personal experience that when TJ, he knows how to sell a fucking book. Like, I mean, he makes it look so easy. And I remember when I first met him, I want to say 3 years ago, I was going to just get like one comic book, like, hey, I'm on a budget, I don't want to go crazy. And so he's like, hey, Malachi, why don't you get all these books? They're amazing. And I ended up spending like $40. I'm like, well, I mean, are you going to sell me some life insurance next or, maybe some vector knives or something along those lines? But
Oh, snap.
do you have vector knives? You have them in the back?
I sold vector knives for a good 2 months. I was like, yeah, this shit is whack, but my father's got some of the sharpest knives in history. He still has them like 20 years later, which is crazy. Crazy.
That is, I shouldn't be surprised, but yet I am. But that speaks to your salesman, approach. You make it look easy, but I know it's anything but easy. So recently I went to the San Diego Con, well, not San Diego Con, but I went to San Diego for the Black Comics Day, and I loved it. I met a lot of cool people. I got to meet Brian face to face and harass him, which is one of my biggest highlights of the year. And so, for those cons, it's all day, and I'm not used to that. I know how to talk about my mouth, with my friends, but to sell from 10 o'clock in the morning to 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. So I can only imagine how it is for you guys going to BlurCon, going all over the country, and you're just talking and talking and talking. You're dehydrated, but you can't stop talking because you have a line of people, wanting to purchase your books. So I tip my red beanie to you guys for making it look easy when I know that it's not.
Thank you.
Red beanie, let's go. Appreciate that.
Because
Yeah,
So-
Comic Cons are a lot of work. But after a while you get your little tricks to help you
Mhm.
push through. Like, you make sure you have your bottle of water, make sure
Yes.
you have your hand sanitizer, make sure you bring a seat cushion. That's very important.
Okay.
That's one of my tips. And then like a little snack. So just make sure you get that pepper energy. Sometimes during the day you'll start to wane down and feel a little bit like low energy.
That was me on Sunday.
Yeah, a bar of Snickers usually helps me, and sometimes I try to, bring something healthy too,
Mhm.
like a banana or apple, just to help me power.
Or the largest muffin you will ever see in your life.
Um,
That's an inside joke.
I might want to ask. We're gonna just nod and smile with that one.
If they make the muffins, I'm gonna get them, man.
I'm gonna need something that's like, okay, I have the water. I don't even want to have anything like iced tea or anything like that, because the sugar will make you like thirsty or whatever. I just give me water, and I'm okay with a Snickers. But I can't do like a full meal because, one, I'm not going to eat at the table, and if I do walk away and have a full meal, I'm going to be sleepy after that. I'm going to have the itis. I'm not going to want to continue selling the books. So give me just water and a crust of bread, and I'm fine.
Well, let me tell you something about that. So you might want to reconsider that. If it starts getting slow and people aren't coming to your table, the first thing you need to do is get yourself a meal, an actual meal, where you're eating, right, and you can stuff your mouth. Because guarantee you, somebody will come to your table while you eat. That's a trick. You start doing that, somebody will come to your table. If it starts getting slow, just grab a meal and start eating. And as soon as your mouth is full, somebody come to your table and you're like,
Well, see, because I'm still like I stated earlier, yes, I've been writing forever, but I'm still relatively new to all of this. This was my first con that I was actually vending at, and 2 years ago was my first time doing an expo for Black authors in Baltimore, and those are my only 2 experiences doing that. So I am grateful for the tips, especially from pros such as yourself. I will make sure that I am well fed when I am at the con. I would hate to pass out symptoms when talking about her, because that would be really awkward and embarrassing.
Yes, it would be.
So my next question for you guys, so what are some of the major projects that you guys have worked on?
Yeah, so outside of Villainus, Crescent City Monsters is the biggest project and the one that I'm most known for. Currently, I'm also working on Keisha Demon Eater. I'm really excited about that. There seems to be a lot of just some really great responses to Keisha, and there'll be a Kickstarter for that maybe in the next couple of months. Hopefully, if everything goes smooth, if I keep on point and on schedule. And then of course, Villainus. Villainus is the project that right now that I think that people are really gonna start gravitating towards once they read the story. It's a really unique story. TJ and I, we sat down and just banged out this really amazing story. And I'm being humble when I say that. So we sat down, and it was like an organic approach, really. At first we were kicking some ideas that both of us had, but then we decided, let's start from scratch. And so we started with the idea of, hey, let's do a story that kind of reflects what was going on at that time, which was, I think, a year and a half ago. And there was a lot of protests, and the Black Lives Matter movement was strong. And so we wanted to kind of capture that anger that people were feeling at that time and put it in a book, and specifically put it in a character. And so the main character, Villainous Shatter, he represents the anger that we have about the system. Like, it just seems like just when you think things are changed, but you still see it's the same. So he's got that anger, and he's trying to he's trying to just destroy the system, and that's where he's coming from.
Okay. Now, TJ, aside from Villainous, what are some of your major projects that you worked on, whether it was independent or Marvel? Tell me everything.
Yeah, I love independent comic books so much, man. So I mean, I put pretty much all of 99% of my energy into that. My first flagship series, Okemos, is currently going. It is the series that most people know me for. I've been selling that and just I guess marketing it across the convention space since 2015. There is 5 issues in the regular series, and there is an issue 0 prequel, so there's 6 in total. I am currently drawing the conclusion to that particular arc with issue 6 right now, so that should come out in the next few months or so. And that's a sci-fi martial art action story, time travel. If you're into that kind of cool stuff, I think you're definitely gonna dig that. So please check it out. Also on raycomics.com. And then my other main series, which I had a Kickstarter for last year, is Joystick Angels, which is a YA space opera about 5 young black space pilots trying to save the universe from the evil alien empire. That is also ongoing. Issue 2 is currently in the works. And the project that I'm super excited about is here. I think that's probably the most excitement I have right now, because Villainous is like a story you've never seen before. I think no other comic is going to address the anger, the frustration, and the feeling that nations of people of color, specifically Black people, have felt during the oppression that we've been facing across all across the country, really. Within the last couple of years. I mean, what's happened to the Tamir Rices and George Floyd's and so many others alike that have experienced police brutality. There's just kind of this brewing anger, and I think we're just fed up. And what happens when a character, a Black man character in a comic book series is completely broken down to his core, and is fed up. And from those broken pieces, those shattered pieces, comes this villainous anti-hero. And that's really where this idea came from. So Newton and I were sitting around talking, and Newton's a good friend of mine. We've been hanging out and going to cons together for years, and it just kind of felt natural. You know what I'm saying? I think the collaboration, the story, it all kind of started to form, and we got a really great art team involved, and they just started banging out books left after left. I mean, they were making books so quick. We were just like, God damn, like you ain't got a chance to market it yet. Like you trying like, we want to tell them to slow down, but we don't want to tell them to slow down at the same time. So it's just been super dope working with Newton, man. It's my dude, and we've got a really great thing that you guys are really gonna love.
I can't wait. So when I saw the Kickstarter went up, and I buzzed you. I saw the trailer and I saw that delicious gore, and I said, you know what? Take my coins. Here's my debit card. Just just swipe it when you're ready, because like his look is so cool to me. I love that he has like the Phantom of the Opera mask, but it's updated. It's like a cybernetic look. It's shattered, so I love it.
Nice.
I just visually it's I think this so amazing. So what was the thought process, when it came to creating Shatter? Who inspired you? What was the model? Tell me everything.
Yeah, can I take this one, Newton?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to quickly say that because Shatter really at its core started out as a broken man. We really wanted to. I mean, when I was designing his character and I was doing lots of different sketches and stuff and sending them to Newton, I really love this idea of a broken mask. I feel like every character's got a full mask, but what if like he's happily rocking this shattered broken mask, and that's just a testament to the energy that he puts out there. Like his armor is is cybernetically enhanced, or his suit, excuse me, his suit that he wears is cybernetically enhanced, but he's also, I don't know, like I'm a huge Predator fan, so I think people will see like the mechanical dreads is just something I always wanted to do on a character and never really had the time to do it. So Newton, we were sending it back and forth, and he was commenting and giving me lots of great suggestions. But like his alter ego and Shatter are two completely separate, different people, and I think we talk about, or we've seen over the years, a lot of discussion about those certain types of Black folks that are against their own community. You know what I'm saying? Like they're the Fox News loving type of people that stay on the news trashing their own. And we wanted to kind of experiment with this idea, like what if at one point Shatter what was that type of a guy, and maybe something happened to where now he's different. I mean Newton, you can pick it up from here.
Yeah. Without giving too much away. So yeah, Shatter, he's the design for Shatter, like TJ said, we wanted to make it theme like, and I'm glad you picked up on the shattered mask.
It's beautiful. I love it. Very
Yeah.
symbolic.
And we wanted also like a look physically like him to look really like cool, right? So like TJ and I, the fun part of this writing this story is like anything that we thought was cool from like when we were like teenagers or kids, we put in the book. It's like we found a way to put in the book. We got a little Knight Rider in there too, if you
Yes.
if you like Knight Rider. So I mean, so and Shadow the character, himself, we were like, let's make him as cool as possible. And we wanted to stay with that, cyberpunk, Afro punk kind of vibe, right? So this is what we came up with, and TJ did a great job when he sketched it out, and then I forget the artist's name, my bad, but he came out and he did the final sketches, and we were like, yo, this character is dope. As you can see, he has the mace.
Yeah.
That's a unique weapon too, because you don't see a lot of characters with mace, and especially a sci-fi book, right? Who goes around walking with a mace, right? And so we try to make him as unique as possible, make him as cool as possible, and I think we did a great job. The character himself, besides his history, his look is very unique, and then the background of the character is also really great too, because he's sort of like I guess we talked about it before, TJ and I, and you could he's sort of like Lobo, but he's more of like a more like purposeful Lobo. He's out to destroy the system, and that's his goal, and he does anything he thinks that will accomplish that, no matter what. So and that makes him that villainous anti-hero that TJ made reference to, because you don't typically see that, right? Heroes, they always have some kind of like agenda, and even someone like Killmonger, right? He's not really trying to totally destroy the system, right? He's just trying to fight against the oppressed system, and in some way not totally bring it to his knees. But Shatter, he's trying to bring everything to his knees, like just totally destroy the world as we know it now. you know. And the interesting thing is in the book, what's going to happen is he's going to find people who can relate to the anger that he has and the disbelief or the distrust in the system, and that these people, he starts gaining a momentum, and people start following him, and so he becomes a threat to both sides of the power. So
great picture right there too. Like I can see that as a pinup.
Yeah,
that's so visually striking, and it has the whole futuristic vibe.
That's the Knight Rider card that we were talking
about. That's I could hear him saying Michael.
Yeah, Michael.
That is a great shot. Now, I did notice that there was another character, another black male feature with the blonde hair. Now, was he inspired by Wesley Snipes from, was that Demolition Man?
Yeah, he was inspired. Okay. Yeah, that's a head nod to one of the greatest action heroes of our time, Wesley Snipes.
Right.
He doesn't get enough props.
Because people are so quick to ignore the fact that if not for Blade, we wouldn't have the Marvel movies that we see it now. Like his movie made it okay to like superhero movies, even though it wasn't a superhero movie, but it was still something that was superhero-ish. I mean, he's an Avenger now, but I love the fact that he was acknowledged in this. He was honored, and that's pretty cool. So my next question for you guys, and you pretty much answered most of it, but this is more in, I guess, a general way of answering it. What is the creative process like? How do you guys get into the mood to write?
Typically, TJ just texts me and says, "Yo, you available tonight to write?" And I go, "Yeah."
That works.
Yeah.
But the process itself is
very, very true.
But the process is pretty. I like the process. So what we do is we write out. We figure out what we want to do in the chapter, right? We say, okay, we want to accomplish this in the chapter. We want to highlight, Shadow's past or something like that, for example. And then we'll go about how we're going to do that. And then we break everything up into scenes, and then each of us select a scene, and then we'll write the scenes out. And then once we're done, we'll put everything together. We work off Google Docs, and we're writing the scenes on the same document. And so once everything is done, then we both go through it at the same time, and we just look through it and then just go through the scenes, and we make the corrections that we think we should make. And then that's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. I like the system that we have. It's a very collaborative effort. And TJ and I really respect each other's opinions. We haven't really had any real hard clashes as to what we should do. There was no fighting over whether or not Shatter should have a gold tooth or not, or
maybe later on.
Things like that.
I love it. So I guess my next question regarding Villainus, will this be a one-time deal, or is this going to be the start of an ongoing series? How would you guys answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I think really we were trying to see, because really me and Noon were making the story because we had these ideas and we wanted to satisfy some of our thoughts and interests with a story like this. And I feel like what is it called? We made these 3 books thinking, okay, arc 1, and we definitely thought about more books, but now that we see that there's definitely an interest and a want and a need for Shatter and Villainus as a whole, we're just going to keep this thing going.
As you should.
Yeah, plus I was going to quickly add that the city of Demetropolis and all its characters, the prospects and the young cyborg kids that work on behalf of Destruct, which is Destruct is a rebel organization underground that's been trying to upset the system, in the traditional way, where Shatter's trying to destroy it the non-traditional way. So there's so many really lush characters in this book that I think people, are going to get introduced to over time. They're going to fall in love with. And that's the dope part about having two writers, because if Newton's handling one batch of characters, I'm handling another batch of characters. And, you got, Major Strome, which is the Wesley Snipes inspired commander, military, seasoned military guy who's like, Shatter's arch nemesis, like the complete antithesis of who he is. There's Kanisa Mystery, our Southeast Asian police detective, who comes from the streets and has risen up in the ranks. So there's really, really lots of great characters within this story to explore. So we're just excited about exploring it for as long as you guys give us the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I mean, we'll still keep on giving you money. That's not going to stop. Because now I'm looking at the characters, I'm loving the look, and without me having read anything about it, like I can already tell you that I would still want to see like a spinoff of this character. I want to see like a group shot, of everybody together. That's just me, seeing it as a creator and also as a consumer. Like, TJ, you already know that I'm a huge Marvel fan. I love the X-Men. I love what they're doing, and people complain about, there are too many X titles. I don't mind it. Like, just read the ones that you want to and ignore the ones that you don't want to read. So this is, you're a Kickstarter, Villainus. This could be like the start of, the Villainus verse. I'm just saying.
No, yeah, that's a good point.
I like
it. Could.
I mean, the way we wrote the story is, there's so many interesting characters that is possible. You can have a spinoff of Major Strome, even her.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
Yeah, Detective Kanise. She, you can have a spinoff of her. There's so many interesting characters that we have that we can so many spinoff ideas. It's like, it's crazy, and that's one of the things I like to do when I create my stories. I like the main character to be as dope as possible, but I want the supporting characters to almost be as dope, as the main character. So like people aren't just, reading the book just for the main character, but also to see what the supporting characters are doing, and just the world itself too, because the world and the environment you create can be a character within itself.
This is true. This is very true. So, and this is a question that it doesn't necessarily pertain to Villainus, but to you guys as individuals, what keeps you going? What is the internal compass, or what is the drive that pushes you guys to do something like this?
Man, go ahead, Newton.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say to do stuff that's never been, just to do shit that's completely and utterly original. Like, I mean, to me, comics is a medium that's been around a long time, and it's really, really difficult to do something that is completely original. And I think too, it's like, we have a character that is inspired by other types of well-known characters, in a very, very mild way. But Shatter in itself is something you've not seen before in a comic book. And Newton's such a huge fan of sci-fi, so am I. Like, but we really wanted to do a cyberpunk book, like, Fifth Element style, epic, scale, and really we're going to go into deep, into depth with that type of a world. And there's space. There's all the kind of interesting things you want to do, man. So I just think it's just like trying to just bring, I guess, chart the unknown. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like being on a fucking ship. You know what I'm saying? And trying to like find, just explore. You know what I'm saying? So really, it's just the exploration of new characters, new narratives, and edgier stuff.
It's definitely edgy. Like, again, going back to the trailer, when I saw like he hit someone over the head with the mace, and I saw the blood splatter, and I just loved it. Like, I needed to have more of it. But then again, I'm a bit sadistic. But that's a whole nother story. You guys don't need to know about my personal life. But yeah, that was that's a great scene. So, how do you guys get your team together? Aside from you guys knowing each other, what made you pick out your artists? Letterer, colorist, etc., etc.
So the first artist we had, Eddie, or Edgy as we call him, we just searched long and hard for him. I mean, like, I think we went through DeviantArt, Instagram, what have you, looking for this guy, looking until we found this guy. And then, we stumbled upon him, and luckily he was available. Before that, we had reached out to a lot of other artists, but they weren't available either. And that's one of the tough things about starting a new comic series. If like you have a new artist, is finding your artist. It takes a while.
It does.
Because, a lot of the good ones are like not available usually when you reach out to them. And so yeah, our first artist, he was really great. He did everything. He did the coloring and the artwork. Unfortunately, he was only with us for one issue because that's all he had time for. And then we were luckily Silo became available. I knew about Silo because he was working on another comic book previously, and I had reached out to him because I had an idea for another comic book called Galaxy Cadets, and I wanted him to draw it, but he wasn't available at that time. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna wait. he's like, I probably won't be available until like another 6 months. So I was like, all right, cool. I was willing to wait because I thought he was that good of an artist. And so when TJ and I started looking for a second artist, I was like, I know this guy named Salo. Let's give him a try. And he banged it out because he's a really great artist. He's like I mentioned, his previous book was also a sci-fi book, so he already delved into that area. And so in issues 2 and 3, he absolutely killed it. And then the colorist is somebody who TJ previously worked with, Loris Rubina. So Loris is an absolute monster when it comes to coloring. He's a pretty yeah. And then Deron Bennett, TJ again worked with him previously. Deron Bennett, I think he's a Ringo and Eisner nominated letterer. So the squad is tight. We got that all-star squad right there.
I love it. So tell me about the tiers. Because I know there are people who are definitely interested. I already selected mine, so don't worry about that. But explain the tiers to those who are, probably in the dark.
Yeah, I guess I can do that because TJ's driving. We don't want him looking at the monitor. So
we want him to be safe.
Yeah.
Stick straight ahead.
Appreciate y'all.
So yeah, the tiers that we have, we try to cover as much as we can in terms of the things that you get, the rewards that's offered with value, right? Because we want to make sure you get some value out of the Kickstarter, and we try to cover as many levels as we can. So, for example, we have a $5 tier, right, and it goes all the way up to a $300 tier. The $5 tier is a PDF of issue 1. Then we have a $15 tier, which collects the first volume in PDF, and then you can get the physical book for $25 printed, and both the printed version and the digital version. And then we have these variant covers by some really amazing artists, right? Giancarlo Bernal, that's my boy right there. He's an artist for Crescent City Monsters. He's won the 2020 Glyph Award for Best Comic Artist. He was nominated for a Ringo Award last year for Best Comic Book Cover Artist. And so we got a tier for a beautiful wraparound cover that Gian did. Now the cover is so beautiful that we're thinking about making a virgin cover. So like There's no letters on it. Maybe just the Villainus logo, just pure image on it. That's how dope it is. So yeah, it's a beautiful variant wraparound cover, limited edition. And then we have the Todd McFarlane cover that you made reference to earlier. That's by the amazing Sean Hill. You know, Sean Hill's been, Sean Damian Hill's been like a staple in the indie comic business, especially in the Black indie comic business. Blessed so many people with so many dope covers, and this cover that he has for the McFarlane homage is no different. And so again, that's another limited edition, and like I mentioned before, we might even make it into an actual t-shirt. And if you don't recognize what cover it's an homage to, it's an homage to that Spider-Man #1 Torment cover that Todd McFarlane did. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. You can do a comparison, or go to our social media site. I think I have one post where it shows you the comparison between our homage cover and the original cover. And then, you know, we have another digital pack at $45, and then we have this really exciting one. It's the Deluxe Collection, which collects both the Gian Bernal's cover and the standard cover for Villainus. Oh, and before I even forget, the regular cover or the standard cover for Villainus is just absolutely amazing. It's done by Kanan White, and and Kanan White, he's another absolute like staple when it comes to indie comics, especially Black indie comics. He too has, you know, blessed a lot of people with really dope covers. And, you know, I'm a little biased, but I think he really outdid himself with this cover here. It's absolutely amazing. And so we have a tier that collects we have a tier that collects those 3 covers, and then we have an additional tier which even goes further, and we've got this special cover by Anthony Piper. If you don't recognize his name, you'll definitely recognize. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
He's the creative artist for Trill League. He's going to be blessing us with a cover. And besides Trill League, Anthony's worked with Marvel and DC, and you know he's a big time animator too. So and that's another limited cover. So we're trying to bring you guys covers that by some really amazing artists, some really creative and imaginative people. And these covers are, like I said, they're limited. So it's not like there's going to be thousands of them around. And the reason we do that is because it brings value to the books too. If you create less copies of them, then they'll be more valuable in the future. And you know, that's one benefit that, you know, we want to provide to the people who back us. You know, when they buy our books, the value of the books go up. And so that's why we try to make the variant covers really special. And so and then we have let me skip down to a collector's box. So we've got 3 levels of collector's box. I won't go into the details of all of them, but the collector's box is a box, right, that holds various collections of comic books. Besides the Villainous volumes, they also hold the Okama's collection, the Crescent City Monsters collection, and a couple of other books there. And the special thing about this tier 2 is that the box itself isn't something that, you know, you just throw away. It's going to be a beautiful box with this awesome artwork on it, and something that you can put on your bookshelf, and it'll look real nice amongst all your other graphic novels. But yeah, that's pretty much most of our rewards there.
Those are some great incentives. Like, and each one was special. Each one, you know, spoke to my heart. You know, I would hope that it would speak to the viewers as well. but you can tell a lot of work went into it, a lot of love. It was a labor of love, I would imagine, in some parts. But those are some pretty good cheers right there. Like I'm here for it. I am so here for it.
Yeah,
So
thanks.
no problem. So
Thank you.
so my next question for you guys, and then we'll wrap it up because I have at least two more. What is some advice you would give to the aspiring creator or child that is watching this?
Advice, shoot.
Mhm.
I mean, comics as a whole and is really a marathon. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of times people are sprinting to try to create something. And while I do think creating is absolutely necessary, I do think pacing yourself is even more crucial, because when you pace yourself, you learn more, you absolutely discover more things, and naturally you create it. Was birthed out of patience, you know what I'm saying, out of
Listen to CJ.
creative inspiration. Oh, you losing me?
Just
How about
a little bit. It's kind of it's still kind of crappy.
Yes.
Sorry. Working with 2 bars out here in Galveston, Texas. But I was going to say that, creative that you have, and let the wave just hit you.
Mm-hmm.
All yours, Newton.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so my advice to people just starting off, it's sort of in line with what TJ said, just actually, no. So one of the things that I think is good is if you keep sharing your stuff and just sharing your artwork and showing it to people, because I see the one thing I like is when I see like an artist who's just beginning to draw, and you can see like they're not the best artist, but you can see the potential there, and they're posting on Instagram, and I think that's such a good and brave thing to do, because of course you're open to critiques and whatever, but when you put yourself out there and you keep drawing and drawing, then it's like you're gonna be. I think it helps you solidify that you're an artist, in your mind, because artists show their artwork, right? Like you can be a writer and just write for yourself and not write anything, right? But if you actually write something and have it out there and show the world, then boom, you're really more you're actually becoming that person that you want to be, right? You're becoming that writer, right? Because you're not just really, unless you're really writing for yourself, which even if people say they're just writing for themselves, they're really not. They're they want somebody to see it. Like I can't imagine, like, even like if it's just your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, your husband, somebody's gonna you want somebody to read it, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think just always put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there, because then you're becoming you're actually becoming that thing that you want to become, whether it's a writer or an artist, and just keep going forward. Take constructive criticism. Don't take everything to heart, because even my stuff, people's I'll get some constructive criticism, and sometimes it's hard, but if sometimes if you take a look at what people say, my thing is I try to see if what they're saying is true, and I take a step back and see if it's true, and then I'll try to learn from it, but sometimes the messages that the way they criticize it might come a little harsh, I think,
be a
but
little abrasive sometimes.
yeah, abrasive. But then sometimes you got to look past the abrasiveness and say, okay, after you stop being angry,
Get out your feelings.
yeah, get out your feelings. then you have to, say, okay, let me take a look at it, see if this person's right. But yeah, and that comes all from just putting yourself out there. I think when you do that, like I said, you really become like that thing that you want to become, whether it's a writer or artist. I think if you're hiding in the the corner just drawing or writing and not sharing your stuff, I don't think you're becoming that person that you want to become. You're just, you're writing, but I guess you are a writer, but you're not an actual, like, I guess, writer in that sense that, you're sharing your creative world or your creative artifact with the world, and
Like,
ultimately that's what you really want to do. If most artists, and I mean that in the general sense, whether you're a musician, writer, or illustrator, they want to share with the world. They want to share whatever they created with the world. So that's a big part of becoming what you want to become, in my opinion.
okay, I mean that's all sound advice, and I'm pretty certain whoever's watching this, they can definitely get what you're saying because it's true. We're writing for ourselves, yes, but we also want to have an audience to, I won't say validate, our work, but appreciate it. I'm sure that something that I write or something that you write is going to connect with someone. And that's what we're trying to do. It's about connection and communication. So like what
Yeah.
Akers said.
Even if they hate it.
Yeah, I mean, give me something.
Yeah, I've come to the point now where I don't want everybody to hate my book, but
yeah, we don't want that. No.
if somebody hates my book and they give me like a reason why, it depends on the reason why they hate my. If they give me a reason where I know they read the book and there was something about it that they hate, it wasn't like it's not really related to like the plot or the character or some writing technique, just something. And then even though they might not like it, it's still kind of like I feel like I've done my job because when they evoke some kind of emotion, you know what I mean?
It's true.
you know,
Now, Newton, where's a good place for us to reach you online? I know you told me earlier that you don't really do Facebook as much, but where can fans find you on social media?
yeah, so all across Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, you can find me at Dream Fury Comics. That's DreamFury Comics. And let's see, Villainus. You can also follow Villainus. We've got an account for that. And the spelling is not the grammatically correct spelling.
Give me a minute.
Yeah, it's Villainus, right? And we spelled it like that on purpose because there was a theme behind the whole book. The idea that minorities are getting villainized, so they villain us. So,
yeah.
It's a play on that theme. So yeah, you can find Villainus at Villainus Comic across all social media too.
I do appreciate it, sir. It was a pleasure meeting you for the first time. We have to talk more. This is, I would think it's the start of a beautiful relationship because I'm here for the art. I'm here for the story. I enjoyed the conversation. So, at some point I would love to have you back on the show. So, and the answer is not no. It has to be yes.
Of course. Yeah, man. Of course. Man. Yeah, man. It was great talking to you. I had a good time. And I love the questions that you asked because it gave us an opportunity to actually, go into the story like we wanted to.
I'm glad. I try to get thought-provoking questions, not so much the, general, average questions, but I still want to get questions that would have you, think a little bit more. And, I was definitely, satisfied with the answers. Like it made me even more excited, for the project. So.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But thanks for coming on the show, Newton. And you too, on TJ, wherever you are in Texas.
In Texas, he said he's in Galveston. So,
yeah. All right, well, Newton.
All right, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Moana. Peace, guys.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then. When they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves the Republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if you put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course, versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course, cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No regard for all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If we won't tell it, we will. We will.
I'm Steve Bloom. I've been a voice actor for more than 30 years, playing characters like Wolverine, Starscream, Tank Dempsey from Call of Duty.
With Bloomfox Studios, I've learned so much about myself.
Learning to breathe, to no fear, to getting ugly in front of the mic.
One of the biggest changes I've noticed, at least for me, is how much my confidence level has gone up.
I've done an Eastern European video game, an e-commerce commercial, a documentary. If you're thinking about getting into voiceover, just do it. Jump in.